A huge mass of cold air is working its way down into the US from Canada as we speak. Along its journey, it's going to cause all kinds of problems in the form of heavy snow to strong winds and even the possibility for severe weather and tornadoes. It's also going to set the stage for a large storm system to form in the Gulf next week and potentially run up the East Coast. This could end up being a very significant storm for millions of people. But we don't even have to look that far into the future to start talking about this wild weather we're about to start experiencing. As we go into Thursday, things are already going to be wildly active across the US. The main driving force behind this activity is that massive blast of cold air that's coming down from Canada. Notice how we start the day with above average temperatures in the central US, but very quickly this huge blast of cold air starts to take over. By 8 p.m. on Thursday, we could be talking about 10 to 20 degree below average temperatures as far south as New Mexico and Texas. And look at that sharp boundary between the cold air and the warm air. This forcing will lead to the formation of a large storm system that will impact the entire US east of the Rockies. You'll see that in the form of snow in places like Denver and all the way up into the UP of Michigan on Thursday. The cold air blast is going to catch up with all this rain and turn it into snow on the backside. This doesn't look like a huge snowstorm or anything, but it's certainly going to bring some notable accumulation in the Rockies and up around the Great Lakes region. Just south of the snow, we're talking about some good old-fashioned rain. In fact, it could be heavy at times during the afternoon and evening on Thursday in places like Missouri, Illinois, up towards Chicago, but the farther south we go, the more intense that rain gets. In fact, we've got the potential for severe thunderstorms down here in the southern plains. As we move through the day, we're going to see this huge, energetic, upper-level trough dig its way into the south, and wait a second, where's the big trough again? There is one up here in the north, but it doesn't really extend that far. What in Sam's heck is going on here? Why is there supposed to be severe weather if there isn't a big trough like we're used to seeing? It must be because this is what we call a dry line setup. These bad boys are very common during the spring and summer in the plains, and they're kind of like warm and cold fronts, except for they've got dry air instead of warm or cold air. On the west side of a dry line, we've got hot and dry air, and on the east side of a dry line, we've got mostly warm and moist air, which is exactly what's happening here in our upcoming setup on Thursday. And unlike a cold front, a dry line is a little bit less intense. Instead of a war zone, we're talking about a pillow fight in the atmosphere. And in some cases, this is better for severe weather because it allows for less thunderstorms to get a lot of room for themselves to eat up all that storm fuel that's going to be available. And even though we are not seeing a huge dip in the jet stream here, we are seeing something more subtle called a shortwave trough. These can provide just enough spin in the atmosphere to kickstart thunderstorms at the surface. The storms that form along this dry line will likely be supercells that initially produce large hail and damaging winds. Later on in the evening, a cold front will eventually smash through and ruin the party and bring the primary threat of damaging winds and ultimately spin up tornadoes. And as we go into Friday, that cold front is going to continue east into the deep south, moving the severe weather threat along with it. But these storms don't have a ton of energy to work with, so we expect them to die out for the most part as we go deeper into the day. The best chance for continued severe weather on Friday afternoon will be along the coast. The main story on Friday is likely going to be this big area of cold air that's settling in across the US. A good 75% of the country will be below average by Friday night, with areas along the Rockies up towards North Dakota getting anywhere between 20 to 30 degrees below average. That's single digits in the north and as low as 30 to 40 degrees as far south as the Red River Valley. This will carry into Saturday, as once again it looks like temperatures will be plummeting in a big way. If you factor in the strong winds associated with this cold front, it's going to feel like negative 20 degrees in parts of the Dakotas around 9 a.m. on Saturday. And look, the abnormal cold gets even more intense as we head into Sunday. This will be the coldest air a lot of us have had to deal with in a while. And look at the wind chills as far south as Birmingham, Alabama on Sunday morning, 19 degrees. And with plants already growing down here, the potential for temperatures to fall below freezing could be damaging. If you're a farmer or involved with agriculture at all in this region, you should really pay close attention to the weather and the temperatures expected over the next several days to better prepare for this coming freeze. The good news, however, is that this late season freeze is actually going to calm down the weather for most of us on Saturday and Sunday. Outside of some snow in the Four Corners region, this is as clear as the weather models have been in a long time. Even California is getting a break from the precipitation where back-to-back storms have gotten people stuck with snow up to their roofs. The Sierras have been seeing up to 100 inches of new snow with each storm. And while all this precipitation has helped ease the severe drought and it's a welcomed relief, it hasn't been completely completely eliminated. California is still in a long-term severe drought, especially given the depleted groundwater. Since January, the storms have improved the state's drought coverage from 98% to around 49%. So basically, the drought has been cut in half. And once again, that's mostly good news, but it comes with some negatives as well. All this rain has led to copious amounts of new vegetation, which could act as literal fuel to the fire during this upcoming wildfire season. So let's enjoy the quiet weather while it lasts. Saturday and Sunday look way less hectic on the West Coast than what we have been seeing recently. But of course, the quiet weather won't last forever. As we go into next week, things look active yet again. There are a few models that keep trying to form a storm in the Gulf of Mexico around Monday the 20th. If this were to happen, it would pick up tons of energy from the available moisture and heat content of the ocean, and it's actually going to have the possibility to move north and then make a beeline for the East Coast. And remember, we have a huge mass of cold air just sitting here over 75% of the country. If they came together, this would create the snowstorm of the year for millions of us along the East Coast. Now, this is just eye candy for now. The models are rarely right 150 hours out. But watch how the Euro model slams the central Appalachians with heavy snow and then works up through the Northeast. This would be a dream come true for a lot of people and a nightmare for others. Right now, this is just a signal. It's not a threat yet. We don't think this is actually going to happen, but if it keeps showing up, the more likely it could be. The storm could go farther north or even farther south, affecting areas more along the coast with wintry weather, or it could literally not happen at all. Once we get closer and the models start agreeing on a solution, we're going to have way more details for you, and of course, I'm going to be the first to let you know. But for now, we do know that something is going to happen down here in the Gulf, and there will be cold air in place across the majority of the US. And we are due for a Big Daddy snowstorm. I mean, come on now. If we do get a monster snowstorm where the snow actually sticks for a large section of a region, I'll be going live for snowstorm coverage right here on YouTube. And of course, it'll give you an excuse to finally use that Yolometer that's been collecting dust. And if you have not got a Yolometer yet, I'm going to give you one last chance here to really solidify yourself in the team of Yolometer snow measuring enthusiasts and have a chance to win $1,000, no questions asked, in our next snow coverage live stream. If you go to shopryanhall.com right now or before Friday the 17th at midnight, you can use the code LASTCHANCE to get 20% off a Yolometer. And we are going to work our butts off to ship these out as quickly as possible. And remember, all you got to do is send a picture of your Yolometer measuring snow during a live stream, and I'm going to randomly pick one of you to win $1,000, no questions asked. So go on over there to shopryanhall.com right now and get one of those bad boys. It would mean a lot to us over here. And that's the weather report. Thank you so much to our members. You guys are awesome. And thank you to everybody who just slaps that like button and subscribes to this channel. I am so thankful for you, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye. Ooh.